أنا الحين بالبيت. This is me in the future. خلصنا الكلاس. بداية الكلاس أعطيت الستودنتس this challenge to create a to-do list app. This is what it looks like. It has 5 features. You have to have a header, an input box with the submit button where you write whatever in the input box, and when it submits it adds it to the to-do list. What else? Yeah, the delete button, and finally this checkbox button checks off the box. Some students had trouble and took a long time trying to create this. I am gonna go through how I would approach this problem and try to solve it with you. I will then add my solution down here. Okay. I copied the initial code, which is available right here. Okay, so it's just an empty page. To start off, we would want to have the header. So this is my to-do list. Okay, simple as that. There's no H0, or is there? Okay. I want to make it bigger, so let's just give it a class name equals text. Let's see what's available. 2XL, small, 5XL. Okay, this looks good to me. Let's just check that this isn't zoomed in. Yeah, it's 100%. Okay. So the next thing I want is I'm gonna create a div. Inside the div, I'm gonna create an input and a button. Thank you, ChatGPT, for helping me. Okay, so it added my button and button down here. What if I remove this? Okay, so I am going to add some margin to this element. I am going to give my button some styling, like, well, first of all, I want some margin as well here. So margin 5 should look, yeah, this looks pretty well. Let's give it a background color of slate. Okay, that looks terrible. Maybe a darker slate, like 600. Okay, some padding of, say, 3, and make it rounded. More rounded. Okay. I want to give this one some classes as well. Maybe make it rounded. Yeah. Make it bigger or longer. Okay, 5 is very small, so I want Copilot or whatever this program is to give me more suggestions. 10, 100. Okay, I'm just gonna use an arbitrary value of 200 px and make it a bit bigger. Okay, this is smaller. 40, 30 maybe. Okay, 40 looks good to me. Okay, I want to make the text inside of it black. Okay, give it some padding as well. Okay, What else do I want? Okay, I want to have a placeholder text, say insert new item. So if I save this and empty this, should say insert new item. Okay, so how do I get the text inside of this input? One of the ways to do it is by using state. I can say value set value. Okay, thank you for helping me, Copilot. Okay, so I can set the input value to be equal to value. Okay, so this variable right here, and then on change I want to capture E, which is the event, and I'm hoping ChatGPT will help me with this. Set value E dot something. Okay, so I'm just gonna Google it because or synthesize. Okay, it doesn't want to help me, so I'll just Google it. Close. React input set state on change. Okay, so it's e.target.value. So let's make sure this still works. Okay. So if I, for testing purposes, add a new paragraph with the value of the text box, you can see when I change or write something in the text box, it adds it down here. Okay. What else do I want? Let's first of all remove this, or let's keep it for now. I want to handle the button click. So each time the button is clicked, I want to add the text as a string to a list of strings. So let's say const list set list equals useState. And if I do it like this, I am gonna get an error. I explained why you get this error in here. If you scroll down, this is a frequent issue encountered in TypeScript, and many of the students today encountered this error. So read through it. What you want to do is, I'm gonna steal the code from here. Define the type of items you're gonna use inside the string. Okay, so this is how you do it. Now when I click the button, okay, so I'm gonna create a new function on button click. Okay, I'm gonna make it an arrow function. Okay, so Copilot, help me a bit. What this does is take the initial list. Okay, I am gonna pass it to value as well, and value will have string. Or actually, sorry, no, we're taking value from here. So I am adding whatever the string is to the list, and then setting the final list to be list. Okay, I hope this makes sense. The spread operator, these three dots, basically take everything in the list and spread it inside this list, so it would contain everything in initial list. Okay, last thing I want to do is, if I do it like this right now, hello, and press add, each time I press add, it's gonna add hello. So I want to empty the input box after I change it. Okay, so hello. Okay, we're not calling the on button, so on click equals arrow function on button click. Okay, so now it should empty. Okay, so now if we display my list real quick, or it's called list, real quickly, we should see hi getting added to the list. Okay, so now let us create the to-do list items. I'm gonna create a new item called function list item. Okay, I want it to accept as an item. Yeah, and what else do I want? An ID as well. Okay, actually I will, yeah, okay, so I can define these to have default types like this, but what I want to actually do is create a new interface called list item props. Yep, and inside of it I can have the item as a string and the ID as a number. So here I just pass it in list item props. Okay, so now I don't need any of these things, or actually I'll just try it. Let's call in list item equals test. Yeah, ID equals 1. Yeah, looks good to me, but I don't need most of these things. Okay, I'll take, I don't need items center, or do I? I'm not sure. Actually I do. I like it the way it is. Here, yeah, I'm just gonna set in margin to be 5 and call it, or more, oh sorry, padding, or actually I want the padding of each element. So class name equals padding of 3, or margin of 3, and the button as well. Okay, right now on click of the delete button, actually I don't want this background color. I'm fine with it looking like this, but I would add a border. Okay, maybe the delete button could have destructive setting, or just background red 300. Okay, 200, 300, and make it rounded, give it some padding. Yeah, this looks good to me. What else do I need? I need the checkbox right next to the item. So input type equals check. Okay, it's helping me. Okay, we can see the checkbox, but it does nothing right now, just like we did before, we're gonna take value and set value equals, by default we're gonna have to be false. So now here I can take the exact same code we did right here, and paste it here. It's not letting me because this is a string. I'm gonna see what it outputs. So not sure what it outputs, so let's just see it. Value. Okay. Or add it in a p tag. Okay, so apparently it does nothing. Okay, another way to see what it does is I can, okay, now it doesn't like this. Let's see what it gives me. It's useless. Oh, okay. We need more curly braces. And now I can do console.log e.target.value. Okay. So now if I check the console, whenever I click on this, okay, so it's always no. Okay, what I can do is keep this as false and set value equals to whatever the previous state was. Okay, so now this should work. Okay, let's check console.log value. So now it should switch between true and false. Okay, so yeah, let's return it. We don't need this. It's just gonna switch. We don't need this. We didn't need that. We're gonna do this and call it a day. Okay, we don't need E. It can be empty. Okay, so now we want to convert this to be string literal. So we do this by using the backticks, and then here I can add a condition. So if value is true, I want to add line through. Okay. I think these have to be double listed. What's the error here? Oh, else don't add anything. Okay, I'm not closing this. There another error. Okay. So now, as you can see, it's getting crossed off. Okay. Gonna give this a margin of 4. Okay. What if I stretch this as well? Does nothing. Okay, we can fix this later on. Okay. So now I would like to start adding the item. So instead of doing this, I am gonna do const to do list. Okay, equals list.map, and it's gonna go through my list, this list right here, and it's going to go through each item and add it as a component. Pass in a key of index, item, and so on, though it's missing the closing bracket. Okay, so now I can render this right here. Inside here is fine. We don't need this value anymore. So I just pass in to-do list. To-do list. Okay. So now if I type in hello and pass it in, it gets added. Hi gets added. Okay. The last thing we have to do is make this delete button work. So what I am going to do is const remove item by ID. I am gonna take the ID. I am gonna do exactly this. I am gonna go through the list, and whatever the ID is, I will filter the list to not include it. So if the index, or sorry, this isn't what I want to do. If item.id in my list this isn't so what I want to do is make my list be a list, an empty list of interface list items. Okay, so it's gonna have an ID and the item itself. So here I can just pass in list items. Okay, much better is doing it like this. Okay, so now instead of setting value, how do I want to do this? Okay, so this is going to be like this. create a new item with id equals to list.length. Or actually, I am not gonna do this because I might run into some problems. So to string. It's not assignable to type string. Oh, id is a number. I want to change it to string. Oh wait, no, I don't. Oh yes, I do. Okay. And the value, what did we change? Oh, we changed the wrong thing. Okay, so it's gonna be like this, and this is gonna remain a string. Okay. So we set value. Yeah, this was my mistake. And what this does is return a random string. Okay. So if I let's console.log it. Console.log some random UUID. Also, this is telling me, let's stop this for now. Here, each item is gonna be item dot. I'm gonna rename this to text. Text or item dot text. The ID will be item dot ID. We will also pass it in as the key. Also, we have to change this to take in a string instead of a number. I want to show you what UUID does. So where did we add this? Couldn't find. Okay. For now, shut up. On button click. Okay, so where is the button? Let's press it in a couple of times. Inspect elements. UUID to string JavaScript. It's gonna install this package. I've used this before, so yeah. Why didn't this refresh? Okay, so if I click the button, inspect, you can see I get some random letters. I don't know why it's saying here, it couldn't find it. Let me try reopen the file. Not this one, but this one. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it found it because it's working here. So I'm just gonna ignore it and pretend like it doesn't exist. Okay. So hello. Okay. And we want to fix this bug. It should be easy. So if value is nothing, don't let us add anything. Okay. So last thing we want to do, hopefully the last thing, is whatever we were doing here. So ID is not a number, ID is a string. We'll pass in a string, and if it's not equal to the initial one, we will filter it out, create a new list, add it to my list. So the last thing we have to do is pass in this function down to each list item. So equals doesn't accept this as an argument, so yeah, it's a function which takes in an ID as a string and returns nothing, returns void, but changes the code up here. Finally, on click, I am going to use the function. I have to add it to the props as well. Okay, so now if I press on delete, you can see that we completed our app. We can cross out the text, cross it back in, delete items, add items. Inshallah, this was helpful for you. I will put in, I don't know why it's not giving me. Could not find a declaration model. Anyways, it's working. It found the declaration because we can see that I can delete by ID, and I saw it in the console. So I'm just gonna ignore this. Because I hope you found this quick tutorial per se helpful. And yeah, back to the class.
زين، شرحت لكم على السريع امس انه شنو Next.js يفيدكم فيه. في وايد فوائد، اهمها انه you can create apps really quickly. فمثلا if you've used مثلا Django before او شيء كذي، كل page you create you have to link it and so on. بس ب Next.js how do you create a new page? You just create a new folder. If you see in our project right here, شايفين داخل الاب الحين الpage.tsx لأنه ما في parent folder، فشنو localhost -3000 is the home, okay, without anything. بس if I want to create a new page, how would I do it? مثلا سوي new folder داخل الاب، خليه نسميه مثلا my to do list أو to do list. okay, inside the to do list I can add a new file called page.tsx. okay, that's it, you're done. هني تقدرون تكتبون مثلا let's steal from الهوم. okay, هنقول we have the exact same page on two places لأن ما أبي create. okay, let's create something real quick. okay, خلي أمسح كل شيء، خليها empty function. we call it to do list. okay, it's gonna return p which says to do list. okay, that's my page. خلاص الحين if I go to my browser localhost / to do list, it's right here. okay, that quickly مو لازم اعرف شيء وهذا لا، بس I created a folder و I add my page inside of it. okay, you can nest folders inside of each other. فمثلا خلينا نقول /dashboard /profile /user whatever داخل بعض. فهني مثلا عندي داشبورد داخله settings. ف this is actually a page now. If I go to localhost /dashboard/ شنو اخر شيء settings. that easy. بس هني لان مو كاتب شيء انا داخل البيج تي اس اكس قاعد يطلع لي ايرور. بس that's how you do it. اوكي مفهوم هالشيء؟ انه
راح يسوي ويب سايت
الباث يعني pages. يعني مرات يكون داخل البروفايل مالك اكو settings page وما ادري شنو page وما ادري شنو. ف فريم وركس ثانيين شوي صعب الموضوع انه you do this. هني لا you just create folders inside of each other.
البيج القديم راح يكون مكانه ولا البيج
القديم يكون مكانه اي
راح يكون
اي. فيعني هني اكو بيج اسمه داشبورد I can access it. بعدين inside of it في بيج اسمه settings فتدوس عليه راح يوديك على بيج ثاني. بس الباث اللي تشوفه باليو ار ال /page/settings/ اي. بس انت دارسه جانجو صح؟ شايفه كان لازم نكتب هذا. هني you just create folders inside of each other. that's it يعني. وفي هني تشوفون شيء اسمه layout. what this does is apply the same style to all of the children. يعني شنو؟ يعني خلينا نقول مثلا you create الناف بار هو مثلا نقول بيوتيوب هذا اللي فوق. اوكي هذا تبي بكل الصفحات يكون موجود، ما تبي بكل صفحه تحط الكومبوننت وشي. فهني باللاي اوت في اكزامبل هني you can follow it. فهالستايلينجز راح ياثرون على كل الchildren. اوكي هالشيء انا I'm not gonna go through it today. بس if you want to read on it مرات يكون في مثلا /students/ بعدين تحطون ID فيطلع لكم that student شنو البروفايل ماله. مثلا مو معقوله حق كل student راح اسوي بروفايل with his ID او folder with his ID. ففي شيء اسمه dynamic route كذي شكله. بدال لا تسمون الفولدر النيم لا تحطون براكتس نقطه 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 والاي دي مثلا. ف when I do مثلا /students/123 it's gonna access the student that has the ID of 123 that easily. هذا you will read up on it later on. وفي component is called link. This is where you just add the page name and you can change between pages. فالحين أنا I created multiple pages. أقدر مثلا تحت البوتن مالي أقول go to about وأحط هني /about. So when I click on it, it's gonna send me to about. Okay.
Which is the folder name.
Yeah, the folder name. That easy. فهذه واحدة يعني من مميزات إنه you can do just about anything. هني وايد كلام بس do you know what a .env file is? Okay, a .env file is somewhere where you store your secrets, your passwords, your API keys and so on. يعني يوم اليوزر يقوم يطالع الكود مالكم ما راح يقدر يشوف الباسوردز مالتكم او الداتابيس لينك وكذي. You store it in the .env file. It's safe there. هنقول هني داخل ال .env file حطيت ال database password مثلا. اوكي it's root password. فبالكود مالي بدال لا اكتب انه او مثلا هني API key حطيت بال .env file API key. بدال لا اكتب API_key equals ال API key which then you share the code and it leaks وواحد يستخدم your API يصرف بفلوسكم مثلا. لا استخدم process.env.api key. It's gonna look in the .env folder and take your API key from there. فيعني كنا it's a secret place that you can no one can access but you يعني. Okay. What's nice about it and as soon as you update your .env file it's gonna update your secrets. In other frameworks you have to do extra steps يعني you have to manually save them to your system. Okay.
How does it check for privileges? منو الهوست منو اللي يقدر يشوف البيج؟ باسورد يبي باسورد على ما تدش ولا
اي page
اي ام في
env environment, it stands for environment. لا, this is defined your website itself. يعني بالسيرفر خلينا نقول عندك سيرفر you want to link it to an API, an external API, ChatGPT whatever شي. تحط بالسيرفر .env فايل وداخله تحط ال API key. فالسيرفر can see the .env file بس no one else. يعني whoever visits your website, any website, you can مثلا right click, inspect and view the code. اوكي فمثلا هني اقدر اشوف شنو كاتب whatever. اوكي
بس شنو يفرقك انت مع شخص ثاني؟
ال API keys nothing. Whoever has access to the API key can access your account. But this is a concept in computer engineering.
اول كورس اللي خدناه الethical hacking كان واحده من الاشياء ان هذا اسهل طريقه تقدر
one of the things in computer engineering is called شنو security through obscurity, اللي هو شنو اذا عندك a string of random letters that's مثلا 255 letters long, it's basically impossible for anyone to guess it. Okay. اي يعني if you see in خلينا نقول ال API generated a key that's 255 characters long, no one is gonna guess that. If they try 255 it's gonna take billions of years. يعني في calculation يعني. yeah, but if your API key gets leaked they can use it, they can take it to use it. That's why في two safety things اللي هو ان تحط hard limit ان اذا انصرف مني $5 بالاي بي اي stop it, وان use .env don't share your API key and so on. It's like sharing your password. Okay. ففي مثلا GitHub, it's a public space where you share your code. دائما في bots that are going through all the repositories and looking for API keys. They are looking for crypto wallets and so on. Crypto wallets is the same concept. Your wallet is a string of 255 letters. Whoever has access to your string can access your wallet. تخيل يعني your bank account. Okay, but no one can guess it. يعني it's a calculation and it takes billions of years to guess that long string. But you can try if you want. يعني نفس فكرة مثلا تشتري gift cards PS4 PS5 whatever, مو يعطيك كلمة طويلة. اي no one is gonna guess it. تخيل انت تقدر تدش ب PS4 و you guess random codes. The chances of you guessing it are close to zero يعني. Okay. It's the same concept يعني. Next up, واحدة من مميزات NextJS إن all pages are rendered on the server. ب HTML و CSS وكذي لا, it renders on the device itself. هذا لا يعطيك شيء إنه it's way faster, إنه it's pre-rendered on the server. When the client asks you for how the page looks like, you just give it the final result. أما ب HTML CSS JavaScript لا, on the device you process it or you render it and so on. It's much faster. بس مرات ما تقدر كل شيء تخليه on the server. مثلا إذا عندك a reactive state, يعني use state, use effect كذي, this happens on the client itself and it changes the page. You can use client components نفس ما احنا سوينا, مو قلت لكم حطوا فوق use client. What this does is make this function work on the client. You can إن شنو يكون عندك server component which renders on the server, just part of it renders on the client. The whole thing is gonna render on the server, or it's gonna let that small bit render on the device. It's much faster than making the whole website render on the client. Also, this helps with Google. I mentioned Google a lot. And how do you rank? Google looks through your website who searches for keywords. بnormal HTML CSS وكذي مرات يكون في code which generates the keywords. Google is not gonna know that these keywords exist. هني لا, it's pre-rendered, Google can see what your website consists of. اوكي مفهوم سالفه سيرفر كلاينت؟ بس you have to know ان if you want to use state just use client و that's it, you're good to go. يعني من ميزات NextJS قلنا لكم ان it's a full framework. You can create your front end, which we did اليوم. You can also create your backend. What your backend consists of usually is API. You create an API endpoint where you can send it stuff and receive stuff in return. شلون نسوي كذي؟ وايد سهل. نفس الفولدر اللي هني هذا مال الاب. We create a new folder under it. We call it API. Okay. فunder ال API we create داخل الاب مع البيجز. داخله نفس سالفة البيجز. Whatever you name the API will be the API endpoint. فيو access it /API/ نقول return sheets, return database data, whatever. فهني مثلا خلينا نقول أبي أسوي API is called hello. Okay. It's that easy. And I'm gonna give you this code, but you can modify it. If you know about HTTPS requests, it's basically post, get, read, get, what's the last one? Put, and so on. This is the general form, and I can say response equals hello world مثلا, و send it. Or if there error, I can send an error message instead. Once you create this, it's gonna be a public API. شنو يعني public API؟ خلينا نقول سويت موبايل اب you can access this API. This API accesses your database. You can use your mobile app to access the database through NextJS. It's a full framework. هني حطيت لكم هم hint. وين؟ ايه هني. اوكي قلت لكم موبايل اب بس مثلا هني عندنا بوردز اسمهم ESP32s اللي هو كنا اردوينو. With it you can send HTTPS requests. You can send from the board to your NextJS شو اسمه thing. You can send data from the board to your NextJS app. You can store the data, do whatever you want with it, send something back. مثلا send the color red وداخل الابلكيشن مال الشيب تقول when it's الريسبونس is red شب ليت احمر مثلا. You can control physical things using your NextJS. Okay. Unfortunately ما عندنا وايد وقت إنه كان ودي I create an API and show you how it works. But I'm gonna leave you with the code. It should be fairly straightforward. يعني هني وريتكم إن an example. Oh, okay. Also in your application, you can do await fetch ال API مالك or send it to your options. مثلا post. It's gonna know إن it's post. It's gonna call this wherever you are in your application. هذا الكود مثلا مو لازم يكون بنفس ال NextJS. It can be in your mobile app, anything which supports HTTPS requests. And you're gonna get the result back, and you can do whatever you want with it. فهني I'm just returning hello world. بس مثلا هني بدال response equals hello world مثلا response equals fetch from the database مالي. It's gonna fetch it from the database and put it here, and I can respond with it. Okay. Okay. هني بالend points دائما لازم اسوي function which is called مثلا get data, و I define the options, the method which equals post, response, or if it's success return it, if it's error وكذي كل هالfunction عشان بعدين اقدر اسوي await .get data or await get data. It's gonna call this function which is in turn gonna call the API. صح؟ وال API is that long يعني. NextJS الجديد سووا شيء اسمه server actions عشان بدال كل هاللوية تسوي use server export function مثلا hello return hello. this function is gonna run on the server. For example, if you want to access your database, it's gonna be really easy. You just import it. Import from actions. Hello. right here. actions بس شنو الفرق؟ ان this is internal to NextJS. يعني you use it in your app, in your website مثلا. بس اذا عندك موبايل اب you can't use it. اوكي؟
ما يصير public.
لا ما يصير public بس ما يصير لان it's functions. يعني شلون you call a function؟ لا هناك لا HTTPS request. اوكي؟ فبدال كل هالخبصه و error states وكذي لا you just do hello return hello مثلا و you await it here. وينه؟ wait hello. okay. This is a mistake. It should be actually this should be small letter. Okay. اصلا بعدين راح اوريكم example ان هني مثلا okay. هني I'm accessing my database in prisma.user. You create many and create all of these fields. Well, that's it. I just call this function using server actions and it's gonna create in my database. Okay. I can مثلا pass it parameters in name, password, whatever, or send it, or it's gonna make it in the database. It's very easy and to access. Then فاهمين the whole NextJS story. Okay.
لازم بالسيرفر اكشنز ولا اقدر مثلا HTTP request؟
It's your choice. Server actions is a new feature. بس انه قلت لك بدال لا
سالفه ان I access the database هذا شو اسمه
it's your choice. It's the same. Both server actions and API requests work on the server, so you can access your database. بس قلت لك it's more work to use endpoints to create them وكذي. It's easier to make server actions بس قلت لك إن you can't use it unless it's on your app or website. Okay. زين. Prisma إن شاء الله نمشي فيها على السريع. It allows you to create databases real quick. فإذا أنتم ماخذين databases SQL و relations وكذي it's a bit hard يعني. هني لا you install the Prisma thing, whatever it's called. It's gonna make a new file called schema.prisma. It's gonna update your .env file. I've never used it, but بس هم you have to write queries. هني لا الحين أوريكم إن the queries are really easy to use. And you don't write select star from table where ما ادري شنو لا الحين اوريكم هني في instructions حاط لكم ان how to create databases locally through Docker. وهني instructions ان how to use an online provider. you create your account on Superbase ويعطيكم شي URL طويل راح تحطه بيور اب و it works. That's it. اللي الداتابيس اللي فوق هني I went with MySQL or MySQL وهني I went with Postgres. Prisma works with any database. You want it to work with MongoDB, with any database you can think of, basically, almost يعني. You just put the URL and it will accept it. But you have to write in the provider is MySQL or the provider is هذا. You update your .env file to include a link to your database. Okay, حاط لكم instructions on how to get it يعني.
I need to leave, but we're gonna get the slides.
إن شاء الله والrecording بعد.
مشكلة.
العفو.
يعطيك العافية.
الله يعافيك. يا الله نشوفكم على خير إن شاء الله. إنزين. فبيور Prisma schema.prisma file. These are defaults. You don't have to change anything. الDB بس لازم تعرفونه إنه مثلا MySQL database. URL to it is an environmental variable. Relation mode Prisma. These are standards. هني is where things get interesting. It's the same as what you took in your database class. I want a new table called post, for example. I give it an ID of integer. وهذا it's an extra one. You specify it's an ID. Well, default value is going to be 0. بعدين for each row it's going to auto increment. Okay. The title is a string. وهني الحين عندي table ثاني اسمه user, also has an ID. هني I'm linking it. This is a foreign key, if you know what foreign keys are, if you took it. فهني قاعد يقول post is gonna be a list of posts. شنو يعني؟ يعني this is a relationship of many to one or one to many. إن each user is gonna have many posts, or each post is gonna have one user. Okay.
هذا كله وين نكتبه؟
هذا كله بالسكيما فايل بالبريزما schema.prisma. Once you install it, it's gonna auto create it for you. It's gonna create
الدايركتوري نفسه مال
بالاب مالك. اي
اوكي.
اوكي فكل
داخل البروجكت.
كله داخل البروجكت. ف whatever tables you can think of, you read the documentation and how to link them, how to create relations. ف this is an example يعني إن many to one. ومثلا هني on delete cascade, on update cascade, whatever database stuff. Once you do this, you have to run two commands, migrate, and migrate will generate the SQL file مو مهم SQL, و push will push it to your database.
فكل مرة أسوي update لازم
Yeah, you run these two commands, or it's gonna update your database to reflect the changes you made. فمثلا you added a new table, you remove the row. فمثلا مرات you remove a row which already has data. Prisma is gonna stop you. It's gonna tell you now you already have data. Are you sure you want to remove it? What do? We delete it. Okay. وتشوفون إن كله it's TypeScript يعني. You are creating your endpoints, back end, front end, database كله TypeScript. وهني هم هالcommand you have to run. What this does, اكو شيء اسمه Prisma client. Prisma client gives you the functions you use to interact with your database. الحين اوريكم شنو يعني. هني الحين خلينا نقول هذا الباك اند مالي. I can import my Prisma client right here. now مثلا await prisma.user.create many. I give it to the fields, it's going to create it. That's it. بدل لا اكتب ما ادري create new ما ادري شنو insert into table whatever SQL. لا it's like this. فايش درى مثلا ان في a table called user. This is a Prisma client. This is what you generated here. Whenever you change your هذا you have to update. It's gonna auto create the functions for you. It's gonna know what user consists of. If you مثلا don't give it a name, it's gonna stop you and a name is required. هذا كله من الجنريت. وفي another feature ودي اوريكم اياه بس خلي اوريكم اياه يعني I Google an example. اكو شيء اسمه Prisma Studio. هذا okay. It gives you an interface to your database. So you can see what tables are available, what rows. You can interact with it, delete rows وكذي. Whatever your database is it MySQL, whatever, it's gonna show it to you, whatever is inside of it. في databases مثلا they require a standalone app to view what's inside it. هذا لا نقول عطني الداتا وخليه يشوفها. هذا you have to read on the I provided the documentations link somewhere, but you can Google Prisma يعني. إن مثلا you want to find the user where the email is this. It's gonna give you the user where the email is this, assign it to your user, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Find many, we saw it. Oh, okay. Create many creates. Find many. It's gonna get all the rows. Okay. But this is how easy it is to get all the rows in Prisma. It's gonna assign it to users. Then you can do whatever you want with the users. It's gonna look like an object. يعني تقريبا نفس هالشكل. Okay. فهذا an example of an endpoint. فI generate هذا ال post request. هني I am using authorization and only those authorized can run this. If you are authorized, if you're not authorized, it's gonna return an endpoint error أو مو error in no access. بس هني if it runs, it's gonna get total students prisma.student.count. It's gonna get how many rows there are. Okay. فبدال لا تسوون select where ما شنو. It's just JavaScript or TypeScript. هني this month student اقدر احط بدال بس count which gives me the whole thing. I can add a condition in where the created at greater than the start of this month and less than the start of the next month. This gives me this month's شو اسمه students. هذا the same thing. Last 5 payments, find many, take 5, order by descending. هذا كله depends on your use case. You would look at the شو اسمه. وهني it's not only doing that, it's selecting another table. So based on this table, مثلا this on this student, find the table linked to it. فمثلا find this student's posts. It's gonna find based on this student all of his posts. We'll get their names مثلا. Okay. And now I'm just formatting the data I got back, sending it back. فيهم مثلا delete many, يمسح كله, delete by ID, delete by كذي. Depends on your use case again. يعني. Easier صح than SQL. And you interact with this. Okay. And that's all for Prisma. آخر شيء بتكلم عنه في library اسمها SHAD-CN UI. Okay. Small letter. طبعا بالuseful links راح I provide other libraries. بس الشيء المميز فيها هذه library يعني أكثر شيء أنا استخدمه. If we go to the website. As soon as you run this command, it's gonna set it in your project. وبعدين شنو؟ تعطيكم components which are beautifully designed. That's the whole point of it. فمثلا أروح على button. I can see the buttons اللي it offers. فمثلا this is the main button, this is the secondary color button, this is a destructive style button كذي. فمثلا روح على cards are so nice to look at. وفي مثلا drop down menu, it's styled. It works with dark and light mode. I can switch it up. What I do in I run this command on each component I want. خلينا نقول data table. وأبي هالdata table. Okay, I want to use it in my project. أكو هني SHAD-CN add data table. It's gonna add it to الحين لو أروح لكم على setup. Built-in components was already styled for you. They work very well. فهني بالcomponents مو قلت لكم تسوون component file وتحطون فيه your components. راح it creates a UI folder وinside of it راح يحط لك الكود مال الcomponent. what's nice about it you have access to the code. خلاص يعني اكو libraries ثانيين يقول لك لا it's fetching from somewhere else الكود و you just use it. هني لا it's fully customizable. You can change anything you want about it. You have your classes, your stylings وكله tailwind. لو تشوفون مثلا بالexamples هني شوف dashboard شايفين هالelements اللي طالعين على الشاشة. هذا الداشبورد اكو cards كل هذول they are available for you to take and put in your app. Okay. It gives you the entire code. فمثلا هني it might take you hours to create your own table which you can select items with, search, view whatever مثلا remove rows كذي. if you do this manually with HTML وكذي it's gonna take you hours if not days. مع الفلترنج مع كل شيء step by step instruction. rows how many rows الpagination next page forward page. وهالpages اللي قاعد تشوفونها هني it's available on GitHub ف you can see how he's doing it here. This is a NextJS website which is available on GitHub. forms. وهني مثلا تروحون على الثيمز يوريكم الافيلبل ثيمز. خليه احطه دارك مود لانها احلى. ف okay you choose your theme which changes it for the whole app. وطبعا built in dark mode white light mode. customize you can play around with the colors, the radius, dark mode, light mode. It gives you the code to copy. If you don't like the colors you can change them. It gives you the code to change. You change whatever values you want. You want your own style or it's gonna affect your entire app. Okay. فأنا I like يعني using هالcomponents. Okay خلاص I need a button. I go to the button or see what this guy did. مثلا button. Okay. وهني إذا طق على الكود يوريني شلون I import it or I get to use it. Yeah. هني كتبت لكم شيء هم إن شغلة when you initiate the ShadCN UI it's gonna ask you where your global CSS file is. You have to specify in it's under source/app/globals.css. If you don't do this it's gonna put it in app directly or create a new app folder and put it in. It's gonna mess up your project. حتى يعني في وايد components حلوة أبي أوريكم واحدة منها اللي هي غير navigation menu مثلا. so beautiful. لا أكو what is it called? The calendar is nice. A ready-made calendar where you can get the data from it. مثلا user selects this day you go get the day مثلا view what classes he has on this day. Okay.
as a component inside the component folder.
هو it's when you run the command مثلا add button it's automatically gonna add them. اي فمثلا you run this command add alert.dialog it's gonna create ال ودي اوريك مع السريع. اوكي في alert which are very nice. It's basically like a notification which pops up to the right of your application. So whenever the user does anything you show him this pop-up. مثلا your session has expired. You show it somewhere وهذا. It's ready made or you can add it.
أحسن من sweet alert. sweet alert أحسن منه.
وين sweet alert؟ في شيء اسمه في command اسمه sweet alert ما أدري.
في library اسمه sweet alert.
ما أدري. Never used it. هني alert box مثلا they look very nice. شوي. They are already styled or you can change whatever you want about them. هذه واحدة من libraries. Another library that is very popular nowadays is called Material UI. It does almost the same thing. شوف it's used by Spotify, Amazon, Netflix, Unity, whatever. It also gives you ready-made components, but the difference it's not fully customizable. You can't change anything. الثانية لا it gives you the code you can work with it. هذه لا ShadCN it gives you the code. It's in your UI in your components /UI folder. All the components. هني لا, it's basically a package, it's like a library يعني, you don't see what happens behind the scenes إلا if you really dig inside the files يعني. That's about it for what I wanted to explain. Inshallah I will.
Normal CSS مع هذا كله.
Yes, you can use, or sometimes you have to use it. Okay, خصوصا قلت لكم أنا إن dynamic things. مثلا خلينا نقول عندكم progress bar it's filling up slowly. قلت لكم إنه you can't really use dynamic numbers tailwind لأن it pre-renders الفايلز, ف you have to use CSS. Okay. In the useful links I'm gonna add more things. فمثلا واحدة من ال cool things اللي سوى شات سي ان, اللي سواها اللايبرري, الشركة اللي مسوية next اسمها Versal. They hired him, عجبهم اللايبرري, ف they hired him to build a tool called V0. Okay, V0 by Versal. What this does is generate components for NextJS. خليني أحطها بالفايل بما أنه already here. Okay, it generates components using AI. ف you describe what your use case is. مثلا هذا digital marketing website, it gave him this page. Okay, وبعدين you can add to it. Change this, change that. It's gonna add to it. في شيء ثاني مثلا شيء اسمه spline. شنو spline يسوي؟ شايفين شلون الويب سايت فيه 3 it's working. This is a React component. You create your 3D animations, your 3D textures, whatever. Spline is like if you've used Blender before or Figma. It's Figma for 3D. Okay, that's the best way to put it. You can orbit, whatever. Once you're done with your design, it generates a React component for you, so you can add it to your Next.js app. Spline is very nice for 3D. وفي مثلا framer JS. okay ف ما أبي get into it, بس هم you can make animations وكذي. keystock كل هذولي راح أحط لهم links.
حتى النوتس اللي شارح فيهم صح؟
اي كل شيء راح أحط. بس mainly راح أكتب شو اسمه JSAP. اي اوكي JSAP. تشوفوا هالانيميشنز اللي قاعد تصير على الشاشة؟ ما أدري if you missed it. بس إنه جاي. This library makes it very easy to create these sorts of animations. شلون هذا أنا I'm scrolling يعني, فit's scrolling to the right with the animations. تخيل مثلا yours. أنا I'm scrolling, ف when I'm scrolling with me it's scrolling. Okay, فالحين I'm scrolling down. If I stop, it stops here. Okay, it's a very nice animation. تخيلوا مثلا your CV page كذي, ومثلا شكلك أنت قاعد تتحرك مثلا. واو شو okay. Morphing ما أدري شنو. It's used by a billion people for Microsoft وشي. بس المين هنا راح أكتب إنه okay further reading. اكتبه قدامكم. Okay, further reading. No. Okay, don't read any further. Don't go into tutorial hell where you look at a billion tutorials, watch how to do things. لا, think of a project, try to do it. راح تقول شلون أسوي كذي, you Google it. Okay, thank you very much. شنو؟ إيه tutorial for a specific use case. مثلا I want to do this. How do I do it? اكتب tutorial. اوكي ورني, بس مو تدشون على tutorial ان how to make a project. اي وطالعون مثلا 8 ساعات, ورا ما تخلصون 8 ساعات اوكي يلا tutorial ثاني. انا I'm learning, you're not learning. لان when you try to do something هتقول اوكي what do I do, where do I start. فلازم you practice with yourself. Okay,
authentication وايد أسهل using Next.js.
authentication ذكر واحد حاط فيديو speed run video speed run. He did it in under 2 minutes. Okay. You have authentication with users وما ادري شنو in under a minute. Okay.
يكون عندهم بروفايل مخصص
اي في شيء اسمه clerk. I'm also gonna add it. ان شاء الله I'm gonna fill the entire authentication and user management. فclerk what it does is give you this شو اسمه this sign in page. it works out of the box. فبس في بالdocs in quick starts NextJS. Okay, هني it's not a speed run for 7 minutes. Okay. You install the package and you get your clerk provider and your user button. That's it. Okay. Or you add in the .env file you add the clerk API. فهني قاعد يقول لك بالmain homepage file you just add the clerk provider and that's pretty much it. Okay. Thank you very much for listening. الله يعافيكم. إن شاء الله استفدتوا منه. إن شاء الله you create amazing websites. يا الله نشوفكم على خير إن شاء الله. حياك الله.